Hey, what's going on guys, this is Backbrace and welcome to a new video tutorial where I want to show you basically how to set up a local web server with Node.js and Express.js. Now, before we do that, I would like just to give you a very quick introduction on what is Node.js. I know most of you guys are Python developers, so maybe some of you guys haven't worked with JavaScript, or they have some confusion between Node.js. They think it's a language. They just started learning JavaScript and they know about Node.js, but they don't know what is it exactly. So if this is your confusion, then I think this video might be very suitable for you. So very quickly, if you will go to nodejs.org, you will find on the homepage the downloads. So this is recommended for most users, and latest features might not be stable. So I recommend you to go with recommended for most users version. So what is Node.js? To tell you what is Node.js, first, I need to talk a little bit about JavaScript. So JavaScript was created in 1995 and has since taken over as the dominant language for web development. Basically, JavaScript was used for client-side scripting inside those script tags. If you've ever written HTML, you might know those script tags where you script source and you define your JavaScript file. So the limitation meant that the developers for JavaScript were often working in many different languages and frameworks between both aspects of the web application, which are the client side and the server side, the front end and the back end, right? So this is JavaScript. JavaScript was mainly just working on the client side until 2009, where Node.js was created. So basically, Node allows you as a developer to write JavaScript code that runs directly in a computer process itself instead of in a browser, which means Node.js simply is JavaScript code written on the backend. And as per the Node.js website, Node.js is an open source, which means free. You don't pay anything for the installation. It's a cross-platform, which means it works on Mac, Windows, Linux, JavaScript, runtime environment. Also, it's very interesting to mention here that Node.js is written in C, C++, and JavaScript. Also, it's important to mention here that Node.js is built on the top of the V8 engine. And the V8 engine powers JavaScript in web browsers, such as Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is also built on top of V8 engine, and Google Chrome is blazing fast. One very important thing to mention here also about Node.js that it is an asynchronous event-driven JavaScript runtime. So we know that JavaScript runtime, okay, fine, you can write JavaScript code on the back end. But what is asynchronous? You hear all the time asynchronous, synchronous, blocking, non-blocking, concurrent connections, and all of that. So this is not really the purpose of that video, but just to explain to you in very simple terms, asynchronous means doing multiple things at the same time. So we as humans, we are asynchronous. You can, for example, be walking, talking on the phone in the same time, smoking a cigarette, smelling, processing visuals and sounds, and all of that is happening in the same time. We don't have this main thread. Node.js is like that. So it's an asynchronous event-driven. JavaScript is synchronous, single-threaded. It can block. And blocking here means that it cannot do one task unless it finishes the first task before. So the queue in the stack in JavaScript, for example, it finishes the task number 1 first, then task number 2, task number 3. It does not jump between tasks and sees whatever finished first. It doesn't do that. This is JavaScript. Node.js is not like that. It's an asynchronous, event-driven JavaScript runtime. And you might have heard of the event loop. I have multiple videos on the channel. I will leave the links to those videos in the description below. You can check them out to understand a little bit better what is an event loop, the concurrent connections, the callbacks, and all of that. I've explained it more than once. Yeah, this is Node.js. I'm going to show you now how to install. So first of all, we will need to download Node. So if you're running on Microsoft Windows, you can go ahead and do that. You can download the recommended for most users. For Linux and Mac OS, they come pre-installed, so there's no problem. You can type node flag v to check the version that you have for Node. For Windows, we need to run that MSI file. I know I've downloaded it already, so let me just open here. All right, and if you will type node-v, you will have your Node version here. So I have 16.15.1. The latest or the recommended is 18.12.1, so no big deal really. So now if you will type Node, you will open what we call the REPL, or the read, evaluate, print loop. And Node can also be used here in a terminal window, as we are doing, like in Python shell, for example. When you type Python and it opens the shell and you start to mess around with things, try different codes, try to do, whatever. The same goes here. So this functionality basically allows you execute JavaScript commands from the command line here. So you can, for example, add things. You can assign variables, John, right? Type name, you get John. You can write functions. So let's say, for example, we have a function that says say hello. It takes name as parameter, open curly brace. Then we can say console.log hello, maybe concatenated with the name, right? And then we can close the curly brace. So now if we will say hello and pass that name, you will get hello John as expected. So you can mess around with JavaScript code here in the REPL, in the Node shell, I would call it. So that's basically it for the Node shell. If you want to exit the shell, Control-CC, right? Or Control-D, or type .exit. Different ways to do it. Next thing that I want to show you is how to create a Node project. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let me first go to my folder, make the node.tuts. Okay, I'm going to call my folder like that, node.tuts. Then inside it, I want to create another folder. I will call it node project, cd node project. Okay, let's clear the terminal. What I want to do here is to initialize a node project. To do that, we will use npm, which stands for Node Package Manager. It's the same as pip in Python. So you will type npm init -y, enter, and that's it. If you will not do the -y flag, you will be asked to type all of that. So let me just show you how it looks like. If you'll do npm init, look, you will get a question for each item. So package name, you get the chance to change it or leave it as default. That's okay. Description, this is a Node tutorial. Entry point, the index.js, fine. Test command, nothing. Get repository, nothing. Keywords, nothing. Author, John Doe. Yeah, whatever, yes. All right, so that's basically it. This is all it is. So let me just delete this package.json. All right, and let's go to Node project again. And this is the first project that we've created earlier with npm init -y. Now let's go ahead and open this with Visual Studio Code. Control tilde to open the integrated terminal. Go ahead now and create index.js. This is a JavaScript file, correct? So we can do console.log hello my friends. Okay, and just save that, open again. And if you will type node index.js, or maybe just node in that directory, because this is the only file that we have, you will get hello my friends. So you've actually executed this JavaScript line using Node. Let's go ahead and start writing our server just to show you instead of me yapping like that. So const hostname is equal to your localhost, which is 127.0.0.1. And also we want the port, which is 3000. So the server is going to be listening on port 8000 on the local host. Now we want the server, right? This is the meat and potato of our simple application. But for the server to work, I need the HTTP to create the server. So above here, I want to also declare a variable called HTTP, and we require HTTP to exist. So HTTP now is going to create a server. Then it's going to take a request, and you know the usual verbs for those requests are get, post, put, and delete. So those are the basic requests, and we want also a response to that request. So if you will have a get request, the response is going to be on the browser, whatever is that you want to show on your web page. And this is going to return, the first thing is the response.status code is 200, which means that okay, and there are a lot of status codes, but 200 means that okay, the server has responded, no server error. Also we want to set header, so set header here content type, content hyphen type, and this is, or we want to be text or just plain text like that. And last but not least, we want to end it by printing out hello world on the web page. All right, that's it. This is what we need to create a basic server using Node. Just one very important thing, we need to listen on port 3000. And just to show on the terminal that the server is running and listening on port 3000, we'll just take the server and listen on that. So you can see here that server.listen and different arguments aside. So server.listen, and we want the port and the host name. So port and host name, and this is a callback function that basically will console.log, and here I want template literals, those small ticks, backticks, and we'll say server is running at http:// and this is string interpolation, so host name, right, and listening on port, also $sign and curly braces and the port. Node index.js, and there you go, boom. Server is running at HTTP localhost and listening on port 3000. Now let's go ahead and open Google Chrome. Let's come here and say localhost on port 3000, and we'll get hello world. Right, so now we know that our server is running. You can use obviously different packages for auto reloading. So for example, if you'll substitute world with friends and you will save that, nothing will happen, of course, will be the same. So you will need to kill the server first, open it again, and then refresh the page to get hello friends. There is nodemon to auto reload for hot reloading. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible for you guys. Just learning JavaScript and getting to know what is Node, what is difference between JavaScript and Node and all of that. All right, so this is Node on its own. Now let's go and check out how Express and Node can work together to create that server and getting information from the backend to the front end and vice versa. All right, welcome back. So the project that we've created, I just moved it to project 0 folder, and I want to create another project. I will call it project 1. So I'm going to create that folder, project 1, cd project 1, and then inside I want npm init-y. The next thing that I want to do is to install Express. Now, Express is a fast, unopinionated minimalist web framework for Node.js. You can think of it as Flask for Python. We're going to use Express now to create that server. We're going to create views. We're going to send requests and get responses back and forth from the server to the client. All right, so let's get back to our terminal and install Express. So it's written here, npm install express --save. Really, --save doesn't do anything now. You can escape it. So npm I instead of install, even to keep it minimal, npm install express. Good. So now you can see the node modules are installed. Package-lock.json is installed or is added. So if you will open that, and you will find that you have one dependency is Express, and this is the version, of course. All right, so that's about that. Let's close that for now. Let me also close the integrated terminal and add a file. I will call it server.js. And now we want to create our basic server using Express. Now, the last example, we've just used only Node. So const express, this is simply a variable to require or to get Express, and I'm going to assign that to a variable called app. Next thing, I want to start the server and to listen on port 3000. So I will take the app and I will listen on port 3000. And then the second parameter is a callback function to console log, let's say Node is listening on port 3000. All right. And finally, we want to get that response. So on empty route, which is a /, this is an empty route. And we want the function to have a request and a response. And then we want to send that response to say the home page is working. All right. This is very simple. You can see that Express makes it very, very simple and easy to create a server. All right, so let's go ahead and run our server node server.js. There is an error. Okay. Okay. The file is not in the folder, right? So make sure that your file is inside the project. So let's go ahead and run that again. So cd project 1, make sure that the file there it is. Let's make like this, node server.js. Node is listening on port 3000. Let's go to Google Chrome and open the localhost port 3000, and the home page is working. All right, sweet. This is what we have sent here. This is the response that Express basically is showing on the web page. This is actually nice, but we want more than that. So for instance, if you know in Django, you have your URLs, you have the views, and in Django, we use the Django template language. In Flask, we use the Jinja language, and all of these are template languages, right? The same thing here with Express and Node. We will need a template language to render HTML to the pages. Pug with Express. So there is Pug here. Very, very simple to learn. You can see the code. All right. There is EJS also. An EJS-like bug will enable you to construct HTML code along with JavaScript variables that are passed in via the backend of your application. So to add EJS simply, you will go to your integrated terminal. Let's kill the server and run this command, npm install EJS. Okay, and make sure that this is happening inside your project one. So go here. You'll find that EJS has been added to your dependencies along with Express. So the first thing I want to do on the server here is to basically instruct Node to use EJS as our main template language, which is EJS, right? So to do that simply, we will take the app and we'll use set method, and I will enter two parameters, view engine, which is the EJS. So view engine and EJS. This is a setter for Express to understand that the engine or the template language is EJS, and we'll need to use that. So EJS basically expects a view folder. So inside your project here, we will have views, and inside views, we will have our EJS files, index.ejs, and then back to the server. Instead of res.send, the home page is working. I will comment this out, and we'll type res.render, and we want to render that index file. As simple as that. Okay, so let's go to index again and start writing some EJS code, which is fairly simple. So if you will have emmet, you will type exclamation mark, enter. You will get a boilerplate for a standard boilerplate for HTML. So here you can type my app with Node and Express, and you can go to the body and have a paragraph and say hello from EJS. Save that. Let's get back to the server just to make sure that everything is okay. Yeah, again, I did the same silly mistake. Make sure that views folder is inside your project folder. This is very important. Otherwise, your server.js will not know the exact path or the correct path of your EJS files, which should be in the same directory of your project. All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and run the server again. All right, let's open Google Chrome, and boom, hello from EJS. All right, this is good, but what if I want to pass data from the backend to the client side? How actually we can do that? So it's very, very simple. Instead of leaving the res.render like that to render only the index, we can, for instance, have a hello message, and this will be equal to welcome to my Node and Express app with EJS. So this is an object, right, which is composed of key value pairs. So we need that key to be inside index.js. So instead of just writing plain hello from EJS, we can actually comment that out and write that special syntax, which is open close tags, then ampersand, and in front of the first ampersand we'll add hyphen, and I will pass that that variable, which is hello message. So hello message, and save. Let's kill the server. Let's run that again. Let's get back to our web page, refresh, and we get welcome to my Node and Express app with EJS. So yeah, I think that's it for that video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I always appreciate your comments, your feedback, which is very valuable. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel, like and share the video if you want. And yeah, until the next time, stay safe and be well. See you later, guys.